I'm always surprised when it works the first time. All right. So I'm going to also do something different this week that may or may not bite us in the face later. But if I do the same thing over and over, I get bored. So I try new things and then I regret it later. So we're going to do URP this week. So I've already got one open. What you'll need to do is start a new project. And instead of the built-in render pipeline, we're going to be doing what's called in Hub right now, Universal 3D. And so you'll probably have a little cloud guy right here. You need to download that template, and then you'll create a new project with the Universal 3D. It does have, it's built off the scriptable shading pipeline. So it's built off SRP, but it's designed to be universal. So we got a lot more shader options, a lot more shader freebies that are just happening for us, and then a lot more other hiccups and gotchas. But one of the asset packs I wanted to play with was URP, so that's what we're doing. So create a new project, Universal 3D, and let's see if I can find mine. There we go. Too much stuff open. So our sample scene will be about what we're used to, except there's a global volume in here now, which gives us lots of cool stuff like fog and atmospherics and things like that. We'll dig into what that does maybe at a later week, but again, I just wanted to see what kind of URP stuff we could play with. You'll need to download these two guys, so Gingy and the Cookie Man. Yeah, Gingy's back. Download those guys, and then in the past I've used Snap's Dungeon Pack that is severely outdated, and so now we're switching over, and I want to get this Adventure Pack. Oh wow, 50% off best-selling assets. Thanks, but no thanks. So Adventure Game Environment Pack. So this is good. This is URP only right now. They've updated it. I've this pack I just got, but there is somewhere in here. There's a sample game that doesn't even work anymore on Unity Learn. So I have played with this asset pack before for the professional programmer certification. And there's some cool stuff in here. So we're going to use it. Anyway, ignore this sample game. We want the Adventure Game Environment Pack, which I've already downloaded. And the other thing that I'm just going to grab so that we got something to play with on Thursday and to show off some of the oopsie gotchas in URP is the Western characters that a few of you already had in your first-person games. So Western, always put this free filter on. Free Western Wild West characters. So grab those guys. What in the world? There we go. So grab these, and we'll show off some URP gotchas. All right. It may take you a minute. I've already downloaded the Adventure Games pack, and so we get a demo scene with just all the parts here. They don't have like a sample scene laid out, but here's all the pieces. So it's kind of a weird blend. I don't know if they're going for a Star Wars vibe, but we got like this sandy, old ruined desert kind of look, and then some updated sci-fi look. So I don't know if this is Tatooine or what we're looking at here, but it's a cool blend of things. So that pack, because it's URP, just works. Let me show you what's going to happen with the Western guys. So package manager, I've already got filtered. What a cheat. So I'm grabbing the free Western Wild West characters. I'll import that. If I go here to the scene, the sample scene for the Wild West characters, it's our favorite color. Look at that. Isn't that nice? So this is built for the built-in pipeline. We just need to update some stuff. So let me show you how to do that. If you're in URP or something else, HDRP even, and something comes in like this, you need to go find your materials. So here's the materials for this pack inside Western Wild West. I'm just going to select all those. So shift, select all those, edit, rendering, materials, convert selected built-in materials to URP. Proceed. Done. We're good to go. Now we have our unfortunately named characters. Good to go with our scene. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a demo scene. So I'm going to start with our sample scene here, and we got lucky this time around. And my sample scene in my scenes folder was in a different spot than the sample scene in the subfolder of scenes for Wild West characters. So this sample scene didn't overwrite that sample scene. But as a rule, don't do anything in sample scene, because if you download other asset packs, it could just stomp all over your work. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to file. I'm going to save this scene. So save as, right back in the scenes folder, and we're going to call it demo scene, and maybe even I'll put Gingy on it. So we're gonna have a scene where we're just gonna test out these animations really quick. This is not, so we're gonna turn in 2 scenes this week. So we'll have a full gameplay scene, and you're gonna have a total of 4 animated characters in there. And then this demo scene is we're getting Gingy and the Cookie Man working in this. All right, so I'm gonna drop in some stuff. Let me first go to my Unity Technologies adventure game environment prefabs, and I'll start grabbing some things and dropping it in to build a bit of a level. That's a fun floor tile. Set that at 0, 0. Drop in some more. Whoa, why is that different? Is it different? No. It's farther away. All right. So I'm going to put on my move tool, hold down V, grab a vertex, and snap it. So we're just going to V snap a bunch of floors in place. Drag them in wherever, V, snap. We don't even need you, ProGrids. Take that. I don't know how big these guys are. How much floor did I just create? I'll do another row. Now let's do this the easier way. Here we go. So I've got 6 of them down. Control D, move those. Snap them back. All right. Go ahead and create a cube just so I can get an idea of the scale of my little demo world here. I didn't mean to call him FF. I was trying to frame on him. There we go. It's good enough for now. We just need a space where we can walk around on. So, that, delete it. I don't actually, may undo that. I'm going to leave that in there so I've got an idea of what's coming next. And I'm going to go grab my FBXs that I downloaded. Start with Gingy, or Gingy attacks. And so I'm going to go ahead and create a folder for my stuff. My meshes. Drag in Gingy attacks. I'm almost concerned that the materials just came in easily. Like, what did I mess up? All right, I'll reset his pivot. Okay, so apparently I decided that he should be cookie sized. All right, we'll fix that. So I'm going to grab him, just the mesh, And if I come over here, we're going to be playing with import settings a lot anyway. So I'm going to go to model. Maybe if we do 10 times bigger, let's get that scale factor up, hit apply. Now he's a giant. That's one. Let's see, put this up here. Should just scale to 2. Okay, so he is larger than 2 meters. It's like a 7-8 foot cookie. That's a big cookie. You know what? We're gonna take it. That's fine. 1.8, as we know, is about 6 foot tall. Meters to feet. I think most characters sit at about 2 meters, especially your Master Chiefs and your other types. So we'll leave them there. All right, now I can get rid of this cube, but not with Blender hotkeys. I've got to use Unity hotkeys. All right, Gingy exists. He's here. I'm going to do the really awful way to do things at first. I'm just going to take the main camera and make it a child of Gingy. And then we'll scoot it up on his shoulder, and then we'll look at some other things later. So since none of you are taking the artist exam, this is less important, but we'll look at Cinemachine cameras in a bit, and those are covered on the artist exams, but nowhere else, so not as important. Just going to kind of get this kind of back over his shoulder. All right, now we need to extract his animation. So if I pull this guy up over here, animations, this came in with very derpy looking and very slow-mo, apparently, animations. So he's got, I don't know if that's an aggressive handshake or if that's a slap. We got a slow-mo walk. He's got a jump. He's kind of bobs back and forth for an idle. And then, yeah, I think that's, he's shaking someone's hand. He's running for office. All right. We need to take those and make individual animation clips out of that. So here on the Gingy attacks in the inspector, the animation import settings, we have everything from frame 1 to 330 in that one take one clip. We're going to make new clips for this guy. So let's make a new one. We're going to call it walk. And now I've got to figure out where. So one leg up, next leg up. I've got him kind of returning to neutral at the bottom of each step. So it looks like frame 60. So we'll go 1 to 60. So I've got my new walk take here. It's defaulted to everything else. I'm going to say end at 60. So from it's 1 to 60. Now if I just play that, it's just that loop. We can speed that up later. We should speed that up later. And I think the rest of that will leave. Let me go ahead and set that to loop. So before you click on something, hold down the V key and then hover your cursor over a corner or a vertex and then move, and then click and move, and it'll snap to the next vertex that you get close to. All right. So we're going to loop this animation. I'm going to go ahead and hit apply. So now we've got walk as an animation for Gingy. Go ahead and going to go through and do all these. So I'm going to go ahead and do another one. We're going to call it jump. We think it should start at about 61 since the last one ended at 60. And then let me see. Goes up, comes down. Just trying to play at the same time as I'm scrubbing. It's a little weird. Okay, so down. And then it's kind of back to neutral by 130. Yeah, we'll call it 130. So my jump is from 61 to 130. Hit apply. We've got that saved. And if we open this guy up, you can see that we've got new animation clips being saved every time we're doing that. So kind of fun. I think idle's next. That IDLE, not IDOL. We're not supposed to do that. Start at 131. It's just this little bop that he does. He just goes back and forth. Looks like maybe he stops at 200. Be able to end that sooner. Let me just try and. Nope. I guess it's legit at 200. All right, 131 to 200. That's what we're going to call it. Put the loop on that, apply it. And that ended at 200. So we'll do one more. Call it slap. Just call it attack. Whatever you want to call it. We'll need to know later. And that should start at 201. Does it go all the way to 330? Let's see. Oh, no, he's got an oof in there. Okay. Back from the slap, and it looks like he returns at about 270. And then one more. I'm just going to literally call it oof. And that should start at, looks like 271. So we got hit in the stomach, or he's bowing. He's got indigestion. I don't know what's up, but that's what he's doing. So that'll be the animation we play when he gets hurt. By that, and we don't have to keep take one. We can get rid of that. But I'm just going to keep it in place in case we need to come back for some stuff. So we've got those clips separated out. And I'm going to put a script on him. And so it's going to be Gingy Moves. So I'm just going to copy this and we'll go through it. To start with, we won't even mess with moving him around. We're just going to call the animations on input. So this guy here, go ahead and add a component. Gingy Moves. Go to Visual Studio. I don't know what I copied. The whole thing. I just need this part. All right. All right. These aren't set up yet. We still got to do some stuff with an animator, but this is the script. Don't need that jazz. So we're going to get an animator off of our character. And we're just going to go ahead and set it and start. And again, this is just in case they didn't hook it up with the inspector. And then if we get vertical input, then we'll set the Boolean for is walking to true. And I'll show you what those look like in a minute. If we get the jump button, which for us is space bar, then we'll do the jump, fire, will attack. So we've got booleans for is walking, and triggers for start jumping and will attack. So let's go ahead and back into Unity and look what this look like. Did I save the script? I should save the script. See what he does now without any other work on him. He does nothing. We didn't call anything. All right, so I wasn't sure. Sometimes their animators automatically hook up with their take ones, and this time it didn't. All right, so we got Gingy attacks. I added a script to him. Let's see. Skin to mesh renderer, reference. Here's this whole skeleton. All right, we need to give him an animator. So I'm going to come back over here. Actually, I'm just going to do it inside my meshes. So I'm going to add my animators inside here. So I'm going to do a folder, animations, animators. And then in here, I'm just going to go ahead and create an animator controller. We'll call it Gingy Animator. All right. So this opens up a new window here. I'm going to move it maybe there. We'll try it there. Docking it above my inspector. Okay, I'm going to go back to my Gingy guy here. And so inside my Gingy, I've got all these animation clips I created. I've got attack, idle, jump, hoof, walk, all of that stuff. And then this will be the controller that we're going to apply to him, that we can call our animations from. By default, we'll have no input. He'll do nothing. So by default, we'll idle. So the first one I drag in will end up being my default. So I'm going to drag this idle clip up in here. And then you can see that on entry, he'll automatically idle. So save that. Let me go ahead and go to Gingy over here. And in my inspector, I'm going to add moving parts. Just going to drag this Gingy animator onto him in the inspector. And now we should see him just bop. He should idle because that's what he's set to do by default. So he's just going to sway. That's his default mode. So that'll always happen unless acted on by an outside force. All right, I'm going to drag the other clips in there. So go to my meshes. I'm just going to pop them all in and we'll set up connections for him in a bit. Idle's already there. We've got jump. We've got attack. We've got an oof. And we've got a walk. Lots of ways to set this up. I'm going to pop back over here to, I think it's linked. All right, so this page here in our module for the week just links to this. And you can see what these kind of look like sometimes. So on this one, on entry, they go to idle, and then everything just goes back and forth to whatever. So you've got idle can go to walk, walk can go back to idle, walk can go to crouch, crouch can go to walk. Everything just kind of loops together. And then for this jumping, which we want to do from literally any state, that comes from any state. So if I'm in the middle of a walk, if I'm in the middle of idle, in the middle of crouching, whatever, if we hit jump, we want that to happen, to kind of take over. So that's coming over here from any state. So we're going to kind of replicate that with our controller. Just going to put this in the larger view here. All right, so jump, we're going to go to from any state, and then from there, we'll go back to idle. All right, so I'm going to right click from any state, make transition, drag that to jump, And now jump will just happen from any state. And then idle, we'll do it like they're doing. I think oof we'll do from any state too. So I'm going to make transition from any state to oof. And then those, at the end of them, will transition back to idle. So I'm right-clicking, make transition, dragging it down. From idle, we can go to walk. From walk, we go back to idle. Same with attack, until we decide we like it a different way. We'll leave it like that. I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to transition from walk to attack as well. And now we need parameters for all of this. So I'm going to go ahead and create some. Let me just check my script to make sure I know what I called them. That's not my scripts. That's Discord. All right, so I'm looking for is walking, start jumping, and will attack. So I'll start with that. I'm just going to copy that. This is another important string thing, especially since we're using a string literal right here. If I don't spell it right or have the right capitalization or anything, then things are not going to work. So I'm literally copying from my script, pop back to Unity, and over here I've got layers for my animations. We won't play with that yet. I'm going to come over to parameters and just add a parameter. And this is a Boolean. And I'll paste that in there. So we've got a Boolean called is walking. It'll be either true or false. And then I need a trigger for, was it start jumping? And then a trigger for will attack. I'm hoping I spelled those right because I didn't copy paste those. So a Boolean literally is going to be either true or false. It's always going to have some state at all times, right? So in this case, we're either walking or we're not. I could be walking for any indeterminate amount of time. Probably will be walking a lot, especially if the animation is that slow. It's going to have to walk a lot to get anywhere. So I used a Boolean for that, so I can turn it back off. Triggers they're literally triggers. So you call them once, the thing happens, and they turn themselves off. So that we don't have to set it back to false, like a Boolean where we say true, false. We just say do it, and it does it once, and we're done. So that's what we're doing with the jump, because we don't want to infinitely jump, and that's what we're doing with the attack, or I mean aggressive handshake. What do you want, Grayson? Just by existing, probably. Matthew, he wants to bother you. Yes. He looks irritated already. Good job. All right. And so now I need to do this. So on entry, we default to idle. Okay, that just happens. And I need to, if I need to transition back, I don't need to transition back from attack to idle because it's just a trigger, and we'll know to default back. So, no, I deleted the wrong one. There we go. All right, I'm going to drag make transition. It's from to. All right, so now we'll start here. So I've got my, if I highlight this arrow, then I get to put my conditions in here. And so I'll just put my trigger in that we just had. So I'll do my start or will attack trigger. And that's what triggers this transition from idle to attack. My jumping comes from any state. Doesn't matter where I'm at in this. I hit jump. We start jumping. So I'm going to go to this. This is the transition. Again, with that arrow selected, if I come down here, I can select the start jumping trigger, and that's what's going to make that happen. And then I need to do from idle to walk and back again. So from idle to walk, my condition is going to be is walking is true. And then going backwards is walking is false. So save all that. And let's just see if those even worked. Just for guilds. We did attack. We don't have an oof yet. We'll get there. Let me make sure these loop and don't loop as appropriately. Idle is fine. Got to go into the actual animation. So if I double click it, we come in here. Walk is set to loop. Attack is not. That's fine. We don't want it to loop. I think idle and walk were the only ones we wanted to loop. So I'm scrolling down there. Idle is set to loop time. So we'll speed those up in a minute, but let's just make it work. All right, you be bopping. I hit space. He stayed down there. Nothing happened. What did I do wrong? They all went. Got his animator. Which is this guy. And see here again, I did too much at once. I should have just done one animation to make sure that works, and then done it more iteratively instead of trying to set everything up. All right, while you know work, idle goes to walk when is walking is true. The animator's set up. The script is on him. Is the script saved? Try that one too. All right, so I'll try the attack. I don't see anything wrong with this. I see something wrong with this. I've got a public animator that I'm not seeing here in Gingy Moves. So it's not, something's not saving. Oof doesn't have an exit time or any condition, so transition will be fine. I'll just do that. Here we go. We'll just make a new trigger. Got hurt. Oof will be on the condition got hurt. Is that what held up? Huh? Yeah, I've got the trigger set up. Yeah, here. Uh, And now it's there. Okay, so for whatever reason, that script was not compiling even when I saved it because I wasn't getting any of my stuff. So now it's there. I'm not even using animation speed. I just wanted to type something in there. Okay, so now that's there. So now we should have access to the animator. And yeah, so I've got on this transition here, start jumping. All right. Huh. Okay, that worked. And then back, walk, and then back, attack. Attack is not going back to idle for whatever reason. Odd. Let's see what I broke. But it's there. It's kind of working. Huh. Even though it's a trigger. Okay. We'll make a transition back. And then I'm going to just crank all of these up. So if I come to each of these animations, so I'm going to start with idle, and I'm going to set the speed to like 3 on that. I'm going to speed these all up by 3 just to see what happens with them. We might find a better number than 3, but it's better than 1. Okay, maybe 3 is a little much on the idle. He definitely looks like he needs to go to the bathroom. So I don't know why walk goes. Probably something I did. Okay, so that works. Jump works. 3 is a good number for most of these animations except the idle. Yeah, and I don't know why I did that, but here we go. I'm just going to delete that transition. So walk goes back and forth to idle, attack goes back and forth, jump can happen from any state. I don't have anything happening for oof. I'm going to pull my idle back down to like, I don't know, 1. Everything else will leave. There's some adjustments we can do here. So I'm going to come in here to the animator. I want the attack to be even faster, so I'll crank that up to like 5 on the speed. And that's good. So from idle to walk. So let me look at some of these here. So I've got has exit time. I don't want an exit time. I want you to just go. So unclick that. The walk will go ahead and allow to exit so we can finish the walk cycle. Jump has an exit time. We want to finish the jump. From idle to attack, I don't want an exit time. I want it to just happen. So I'm going to turn that off. And then if we open that up underneath the has exit time, we can do some other stuff here. So here's my tooltips. Can be interrupted by transitions from. Let's just try those. So I just took off the exit time. Let's see if they feel snappier. Yeah. 5's a good speed for the aggressive handshake. And then I took off the exit time, so he just does it. So the problem with the jump, which is a very long animation, is I can just keep triggering it. So it looks like he's like stomping somebody. And I think I want the walk, like it's actually a long cycle. I don't want that to have to finish because I've lit off the button and he's still doing his thing. I'll take off the exit time there. We'll just go right back to idle. So from walk back to idle, turn off exit time. See how that feels, and then we'll see if we can adjust the jumping. So it looks silly to only take a half a step, but sometimes we do that. Like that. Let me just check the script again. Get button down for jump instead of get button. That's good. All right. So we're calling our stuff. What I want for this demo scene is we want to move the guy around, actually have him do the things. And so we can add in some code for that. So that our Gingy is our main character, since we've already got the camera sitting over his shoulder. And we'll do that shortly. I'm going to go ahead and get us started with Cookie Man. So I'll drag that guy in too. So come over here to my meshes, close up Gingy. I'll drag in the next guy. FBX says new Gingy. And who did not come in with all of his materials. So we'll go over here. Extract textures. Just throw it right in here. This folder is fine. And materials. Now he's here. So now we got this guy that I can't drag into the game view. And he's also tiny. Change his model settings. We'll guess 10. Same, maybe he's the same height. No, he's much smaller. All right, Cookie Man might have to go to 100 times. There he is. Might be a little smaller. He's a little smaller than Gingy, but he's mean. He's scrappy. All right, so you need to extract his textures, and then they'll come in just fine. Actually, there's a little more detailed texture. You can see some cookie bumps on them. And then go through the same process we did with Gingy, extract all of his animations, and then we will set him up to be an NPC. So we'll use, or you will use, nav mesh agent like we did before, and he'll have different states, like he's walking toward us, he's attacking, and all that. But now we'll have animations we can call with that, so we don't have just T-posing weirdos chasing us down. Gingy, we can mess with his script and get him to start moving, but I'm gonna let you explore that. So in our demo scene, move a character, move one of the cookies around, and have the other cookie be an NPC. And this is really just to test animations, test out your controls, move them around and stuff. I think I left some notes on Canvas in this assignment, and we can. Yeah, so we can pull in some code from our DET basic first-person controller and use that to still move our guy around. The only difference being we will rotate him with the mouse instead of the camera, and the camera will just follow him. So get Gingy working, get him moving around, and we'll get him attacking. I think one last thing we'll do that I'll demo that we haven't done in here is we can give him something on his hand or in his hand. So let me just set that up. You guys can handle the movement, but this is something newish. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to start chasing his spine. Set his right hand, I think, that does the slappy slap. He's got a right hand. So I can make a child of his right hand, and then he can be swinging a sword, moving a flashlight, or we just activate some collider that's on his hand when he does his aggressive handshake that causes damage. So his hand can be a weapon if we go down through his bone structure that we don't really see here, and add something. So let me just go let's go find a sword. That's what you want is 8-foot tall cookies with swords. High quality 3D model of the sword. There's an armor pack. Yeah, we'll get the whole pack. What have I done? Oh, it's only 300 megs. We're fine. Now I'm seeing this white mage spells, and I'm feeling regret. Maybe I don't want a sword. Maybe I want that aggressive handshake to cast fire. All right. Now somewhere in this giant mess of things, I should have weapons. That all need their materials updated. That looks good. All right, I'm just going to use it purple for now, and we'll fix it. So I'm going to drag this sword in and make it a child of Gingy's right hand. Reset it. I'll have to adjust it a little bit, obviously. Okay, now let me find this guy and do it from here. That would be awesome. No. Okay, so I've got to find sword 3 material. Materials aren't in there. Huh. Search for material called sword. There's sword 3. Okay, so just got to select it. Go through the same process. I can do it to all of them. I'm just going to cherry pick. So rendering materials, convert to built-in, proceed. Here we go. Gingy's got a cool sword. So as a child, it should follow his hand. So I just need to rotate it around and get it in position. Oh, what did I just do? I moved his whole hand, not the sword. Huh. That looks fairly menacing. We won't even do anything to it. Let him carry the sword around for now. See if it follows his hand properly. Yeah, now the idol's menacing. Oof. Yeah, I cranked that up when I thought it was going to be a slap. Now it's a super sharp stabby stab. Let me just pull that back down. So the attack I had at 5, we'll pull that back down to 3 on the speed. Let's just see what that looks like. Yeah. So that's the other cool thing we can do. When you've got the skeletal structure of the animated character, you just make something a child at the right spot and it'll follow. That's almost too much fun. The other thing we could do is we could, yes, we could. We could, when we attack, right? So fire 1, so right up in here. We could activate the sword. So maybe he doesn't even have the sword unless it goes to attack. Or we can make where we can put a box collider on the sword that we turn on and off. And so that's only on when he's attacking. So we can't just accidentally walk around and slice someone's head off. He's got to be deliberately attacking. And if you were doing a punch, you could do the same thing, right? So as he's walking around, his hand's not menacing at all, but when he's going to attack, we just turn on that collider at his fist and see what he can do. So lots of stuff we can do there right before we do the will attack trigger. All right, I will leave it to you to finish out this scene. Back. All right, we've got, we can have some stuff in here. We can just keep it a simple little arena. This is our demo scene where we're getting our 2 cookies to work. And again, these are with animations that come in with them. And then when they're all done, make a good prefab out of them. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. We'll make a prefab folder. Right, and then make Gingy a prefab. So at least one of those needs to be, well, obviously just one. One of those needs to be your player. The other one needs to be some kind of NPC enemy. And you can just, this is a little arena, you would attack the other cookie. Select the material and then go to edit and then rendering, materials, convert. So select it in the project window, the materials. Yeah, and then up to edit. You're putting steps in there we don't need. I don't know what you're doing now. Did you do it? Edit, sorry, edit up here. Oh. Yeah, edit all the way down, rendering. Oh, okay. Materials, convert. Okay. All right. So get this scene going, and then we'll drop in new characters Thursday. The idea being that this is like homemade characters. Maybe this came from your art team that on the project you're working on. And then we'll look at pre-built characters, mixing animations and stuff like that. And so your final game scene that you're going to turn in the end of this week, you'll have 4 characters in there. Pick any one of them to be your player. It doesn't have to be Gingy. You can just have 2 menacing cookies as bad guys in your scene or whatever. But get this going by Thursday and get these 2 prefabs going, and then we'll keep going from there. Cool. Get something to move. And right now, again, we've only got the camera sitting as a child of Gingy. We'll try to look at Cinemachine on Thursday as well, which is just really cool for setting up cameras that don't clip through walls and are smart enough to kind of like move around and get themselves into corners and cool things like that. Before I stop this, I just want to show the full animation clip of Cookie Man here. So he's also in slow-mo. He's got a bit of a run. He does a weird spirally jump. He kicks instead of punches. You can just attach a sword to his foot. Really fun. And at the very end there, he's just got like his head turned, so that can be his idle. The fun thing is you've got all whatever frames, and you can just make clips out of whatever, right? So just grab like that. That could be he just got hit. He throws his hands up. Even though it's the wind up for the jump, but he can just whatever you want to do. Fun stuff.